Lamar, does he want Deshaun Watson money? Does he want more than Deshaun Watson money? Does he want fully guaranteed money? Is he willing to take some funny money? There's allegedly some more information that we are to assume is from Lamar's camp or reporting done by sourcing from Lamar's camp. We'll see. We'll get there. There's NFL players backing Lamar. There's a good thread of just players showing their support, wishing that, he stands firm and supporting him in his decision, not necessarily to hold out, but to stand firm in his conviction of getting what he feels he's worth. Another former player came out and said something I and a lot of the people that's been in the comments here have been saying for about a couple of weeks now. And that former player is getting traction for saying the thing, even though, we here on the stream have been saying this thing, but it's all good. We will get to that. And then Jalen Carter falling down draft boards for someone that was originally thought to be a number one pick. A team in the top 10 is removing him from their big board. We'll get there. Oh, but if you're watching this live, appreciate you if you can hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button, all that good stuff. I don't ask for much here. Just a like and or subscribe. That is sufficient for your boy. But anyway, as usually is the case these last few weeks, we start with Lamar Jackson. So we have information coming down from a blue check boy from the 4-letter network, and that blue check boy is jumping out the window, letting us know that Ravens QB Lamar Jackson is not, let's make sure we get this blown up, isn't demanding a fully guaranteed contract. He, quote, just wants the guaranteed portion of it to be larger than Watson's, in this case, Deshaun Watson. So, is this semantics? Because to me, fully guaranteed or just guaranteed portion, either way, you want more than Deshaun Watson. So whether it's $250 fully guaranteed, whether it's $300 with $250 guaranteed, the main point is he wants more guaranteed money than Deshaun Watson. Now, this is all alleged from, I believe it's Jeremy Fowler, right? Yeah, Jeremy Fowler. So, he's a blue check boy. You see him, he's got 135, almost 136,000 followers. So he's a blue of the blue check boys that is at the 4-letter network. Guaranteed portion. Now, to me, that's semantics. Because, yes, fully guaranteed money should be a thing going forward. But the bottom line is something we've been talking about that he feels, or that he should feel, he should want more money than Deshaun Watson. And now with this reporting, because again, remember, Fraud A. Smith had it a few weeks ago. And then it's kind of been trickling out since then, I guess, as Lamar and his people have been trying to make sure that his point of view or his POV is being put out there. Lamar allegedly doesn't want fully guaranteed money, but he does want more guaranteed money than Deshaun Watson. That to me is semantics. That to me doesn't really change anything that we've been talking about here on this stream for the last 3 weeks. The bottom line is he wants more money than Deshaun. Whatever funny money you got to put on the back end to make yourself feel better, whatever, balloon-laden incentives you need to put on the back end, doesn't matter. The number is 230. You need to beat 230. That's something we've been talking about here, and I'll make it, a singular. That's something I have been saying ever since the Watson deal got announced. I've been saying the minute that came out, I said, if I'm Lamar, I want more than Deshaun. I don't say anything. I don't sign anything until the number on my piece of paper is more than Deshaun Watson's piece of paper, and it's guaranteed. So whether it's fully guaranteed 100%, whether it's 80-20 fully guaranteed or whatever, Lamar, according to this reporting, is saying my guaranteed number has to beat the 230 that Deshaun Watson got. So does this create wiggle room for the Ravens? if we're to assume this is true, this falls in line with what Friday Smith has reported. This falls in line with what has been pushed from people that's been alleging to have ties to Lamar's camp, is that he's not even asking for fully guaranteed money. It's kind of like a double negative. Like, well, I'm not asking for fully guaranteed money. I just want more guaranteed money than him. Well, to get that kind of money, like that's more money than Mahomes. That's more money than Josh Allen. That's more money than Aaron Rodgers. That's more money than Russell Wilson. That's more money than Kyler Murray. That's more money than Deshaun Watson. Like, you're asking for to be the highest paid quarterback in the league, which, if you're to pay him by his market value, is accurate. If you're the next man up in terms of the next one up, he should get that money, right? If you're of that ilk where Kirk Cousins got fully guaranteed money, got the highest, richest contract at that time at 35 per, he got that money. Then everyone else kind of followed suit. But then the Deshaun Watson thing, and there's a gap there because in between Kirk Cousins getting a fully guaranteed contract and Deshaun Watson getting his fully guaranteed contract last year, there was a gap there where there were a few contracts that were signed that didn't follow the Kirk Cousins model. And a former player is very upset and is blaming those two quarterbacks, which we've been insinuating here. So when we get there, realize that's not really new to the people that's been following this stream, but just in general, there was a few contracts in between Kirk Cousins and Deshaun Watson getting fully guaranteed money that went back to the old school style of just a certain percentage guaranteed and then a whole ton of funny money, incentive-laden, bonus-laden contract money on the back end. So with that being said, Lamar's trying to put the train back on the track. Those contracts in between Cousins and Watson allegedly derailed the train of, hey, well, the fully contract model has been established with Kirk Cousins. We doing this from here on out. That was started. Now we have, off the heels of Deshaun Watson getting his money, Lamar's like, no, we're going to stay on this train. This is now the train. And that's why, I have a video up on my channel about, Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, and your man's Joe Burrow. Their teams are now trying to get them to sign the old style contract. Because if Lamar is going to find a way to get more guaranteed money than Deshaun Watson, albeit not being fully guaranteed, that now raises the bar. So this is potentially, if you look at it, it's not the full stick up. The full stick up would have been Lamar saying, no, fully guaranteed and more than Deshaun. This to me feels like a compromise. This to me is like, okay, we can still backload it with a bunch of incentives that you're going to make it impossible for me to beat. But I still want, at minimum, more than that guy who got guaranteed money that I feel I'm better than. And there are plenty of people in and around the league who feel the same way. So he's willing to accept a standard contract. He just wants to make sure the guaranteed portion beats out Deshaun Watson. How do y'all feel about that? Let me know in the comments, because this to me is extremely interesting, because the owners still get their way ultimately, even though Lamar would get his 250. And again, I'm just throwing a number out there because if it's 230, I would want to make a significant jump over Deshaun Watson. I've been saying 300, but that seems unlikely. Maybe 300 total value in terms of funny money on the back end. But I think it's more realistic to be in that 250 range. So if he gets his 250, but they backloaded with incentives that are impossible to beat and the total value is $400 million, that then keeps the old style of contract in play, but it does raise the bar for fully guaranteed money. So if you are Jalen Hurts, if you are Joe Burrow, if you are Justin Herbert, now that money, the bar's been raised, but you could still have the old style contract. So the player gets what they want, and the team, in theory, gets what they want because they can still hide some money and pump up the value of the money, which is more so for the team and for the agents. The agents want to be able to walk around and say, Mahomes' agent walk around and say, I got him $450 million, even though in essence it's only 140 guaranteed. That's the whole value of it. Like, Kyler Murray, I think his funny money is about 50-something million. Like, he's almost Deshaun Watson money, but it's only guaranteed to about 189 million. Like, it's more so for the agents to leverage those numbers to go get more clients, more so than the player. Mahomes ain't walking around saying, I got 450 million, because he doesn't. Because he has to beat every single incentive to reach that type of money. And it's highly unlikely with the way they structure these contracts for him to actually end up with 450 million. So there's going to be a thing here where this to me feels an awful like a compromise. If Lamar's whole goal is, I just want more than Deshaun, that should be doable if you're the Ravens. Because you can still flood it with funding. They could say this contract is 500 million. As long as 250 of it's guaranteed. And they're going to make the other 250 damn near impossible to reach with funny money incentives. So this to me feels like a compromise. This to me makes it even more complex or confusing as to why the Ravens won't just go on and do it. Is it the guaranteed portion? Why are you so upset at that? If every owner and GM's narrative has been the Browns ruined it with giving all a fully guaranteed contract, well, now what's the narrative? If the narrative truly was, we don't think players should be getting, especially in even the light of the most important position in the sport, in terms of quarterback, we just do not want to create a trend of giving fully guaranteed contracts, even to the position we overhype the most. The position that we evaluate the most, that we hold most viable, that we, basically base our predictions on in terms of your team is trash, well, your QB must be trash. So it's the most highly evaluated position in the sport. Therefore, when you're looking at the trend that was looking like it was going to continue with Watson, they don't want this to happen with Lamar. So, okay, fine. I won't ask for, I know I won't get fully guaranteed money. You've made that clear. Cool. You still need to give me more than Deshaun Watson. Because now if you're Hurts, Burrow, Herbert, if Lamar gets 250, Burrow could walk in there to Mike Brown of Cincinnati and say, I want 275, fully guaranteed. Make it 600 million. But I want 275 because I want more than Lamar. And then what does Hurts want? What does Herbert want? What does Trevor Lawrence want? This is how it starts to trickle down. In 3 years, what's Bryce Young and CJ Stroud going to want? Anthony Richardson going to want? This is why the Lamar piece is important. If he accepts the 32 on the franchise tag, that's small money. That's small money. And I know we're talking about millions and fans get all wrapped up about how, we can trivialize these millions that players are getting, although they're just ignoring the billions that the owners are making. But in regards to what his worth is, 32 million is not enough. If it was the exclusive franchise tag, which was 45 million, I believe, that's more in accordance to what his worth is. But even that's still not necessarily enough. It's in the ballpark, but not enough. 5 years, 250. 4 years, 250. However you want to slice it. But now, if he doesn't want fully guaranteed, then okay, throw some funny money on there to really blow it out the water. 5 years, 500 million. Even though we know only 250 is guaranteed. Because because again, if we're using the bar of Mahomes got 10 years, 450 million. But again, like I said, only 140 of it is guaranteed. Then what's the problem with saying 5 years, 500? But it's really just 250. You know what I mean? So you still get Deshaun. And it looks like we took care. It looks like you're making $100 million a year. But in actuality, you're going to get your 250 no matter what happens. Problem solved. Problem solved. But, it's not up to us. It's not up to me. But I think this seems to be negotiating in public. And from my understanding, I'll come off the screen here just because I want to check Lamar's Twitter feed just to make sure to see if he has, because he's been he's been on the tweets. So if he has been saying anything, I don't want to miss anything while I'm here live. So let's see. Has Lamar responded to anything? No, he has not. Okay. All right. So Lamar has not responded. So we'll go back to the original tweet that got everything rolling. So if you're trying to look at this from a player perspective, if you're Jalen Hurts, as we talked about yesterday, Jalen Hurts is a second round pick. So his contract structure is going to be a little different. But if you're Herbert and Burrow, what do you want Lamar to do? Because if Lamar holds firm, and I still feel he has the leverage in this thing with the Ravens, and he gets fully guaranteed, now there's no more negotiations. This is the number. We can negotiate on the number, but we're no longer negotiating on fully guaranteed versus these funny money contracts. Or are you encouraging this type deal where it doesn't matter what the funny money is on the background? As long as the guaranteed portion number is met, you can flood it with all the funny money you want. Is that where we're going with it? Because to me, Lamar is kind of, if this is true, and again, this is all reporting, sourcing, alleging, all of that, right? But if he truly isn't, get that off the screen, that's weird, isn't demanding a fully guaranteed contract, then okay. But he wants the guaranteed portion to be larger than Watson's, then that to me is saying the same thing we've been saying, is that he wants more than 230. However you slice it, however you need to structure it, 5 years, 300 with 250 guaranteed, cool. 10 years, 500 with 250 guaranteed, cool. As long as my guaranteed number is larger than Deshaun Watson's. Y'all let me know if y'all are feeling this in terms of if we're to make this to be true. Do you think this is how Lamar should be moving? Do we think this is how he's been moving? And he's using this, whether it's him or his camp, speaking to Jeremy Fowler of the Four-Letter Network to get this info out there. Where do we stand on this? I stand that, to me, it doesn't really change anything that I've been saying and that I've had a lot of people pulling up on these streams in the comments. We all been saying different versions of the same thing of Lamar should get more money. Lamar should get more money than Deshaun Watson. In the few videos that I've had, where I was speculating on whether this was collusion when all the teams came running out there saying we don't want Lamar, a lot of people were telling me Lamar's not better than Deshaun Watson. That he doesn't deserve that money. Clearly, Lamar thinks different, and clearly the people that have been pulling up and supporting this stream feel the same, that Lamar should get, and more importantly, whether it's with Baltimore or somewhere else, will get more money than Deshaun Watson. Because the Ravens don't have a quarterback. I know Huntley, yeah, he filled in nicely, but if you're trying to win, you don't have a quarterback right now. If you continue to try to play hardball, Lamar can chill. The thing with the franchise tag, he doesn't have to accept this anytime soon. He's got until damn near the middle of the season to accept the franchise tag. He could just marinate at home, keep working out, keep getting the PCL healthy, and pull up whenever he wants. While the Ravens are going to have to scramble, trying to fill out a roster with a new OC, and out here trying to allegedly, try to get into the DeAndre Hopkins mix. That came down last night, allegedly, that they're trying to get in the mix for DeAndre Hopkins, which to me, I don't believe any of it. You're not playing this hardball with Lamar Jackson if you're actually also simultaneously trying to get DeAndre Hopkins. I don't believe it. I think that is smoke to try to cover the fact that The only thing they've done this offseason to try to help Lamar, if Lamar were to just accept the tag or just to take whatever ridiculous contract offer that's below his market value, is, oh, we went and got you Nelson Aguilar. Take this funny money contract that's below your market value, and here's Nelson Aguilar. Go back and get into that 2019 form and don't be injured at all, even though our strength staff is a F-. Okay. So to me, I don't believe the reports that the Ravens are actually actively trying to get DeAndre Hopkins. I was on board with that notion a few weeks ago because I'm like, okay, if you really truly do believe in Lamar, then go get him help first. If you want him to accept this funny money contract, then go get him some actual help, some bona fide help. And they responded with Nelson Aguilar. And I said, see, that's why you've been tricking this off for years. As Mahomes got his contract after his third year, and Josh Allen in the same draft class as Lamar Jackson got his contract extension after his third year, y'all played Russian roulette. And after a MVP season and a phenomenal season right after that, you decided not to extend Lamar Jackson. You played Russian roulette. And in theory, you won because then he got hurt the next 2 years. So you can stand firm in your justification of not extending him after the third year because the next year he missed 5 games and the year after that he missed 5 games. But the problem is that despite him missing 10 games over the last 2 seasons, he still has won games and has played well. So which is it with the Ravens? Do they just not want to pay him because they feel they could get better value with a cheaper QB? Do they feel they could win the same amount of games and have the same amount of success with a lower tier and a cheaper QB? Or do they think Lamar is done? Like, what's the rationale behind not paying him? If it's not collusion, if it's nothing nefarious, if it's a football decision, then what part of football is it? Do you think his injuries are just going to continue? Do you feel as though he has peaked at 25, 26 years old? Are you trying to say that because of the way he plays the game, which is directly attributed to the talent or the lack thereof around him? Are you trying to sell the narrative that if we pay him, we can give him the help that everyone and their mama keeps telling us we need to give him? What is it in Baltimore, if this is truly a football decision, that is causing this hang-up? Ozzie Newsome was on the Burning Kosar podcast and said, yeah, the owner is really, he got shook up off of the Deshaun Watson contract. And that's cool if that's, I'm sure most owners thought that when that contract came down. But at some point, as their revenues keep going up, as the broadcast rights and the streaming rights keep going up, they have to understand that contracts, whether they want to or not, are also in line to go up as well. Daniel Jones just got 40 M's. Now we know it's 40 M's a year, but it's some funny money in there. But he got 4 years, 160. 51% of that contract is funny money. Only 49% is guaranteed. So those numbers, whether inflated with funny money or guaranteed, are going to continue to go up. There's going to be a mid-tier QB 5 years from now that's probably going to get a Mahomes-like level deal. Because Mahomes' next contract is going to be a Deshaun Watson type contract. Like, that's the thing. You think the Chiefs won't pay a fully guaranteed contract to Mahomes if he actually stands firm and wants it? Why do you think they signed him to a 10-year deal? But if I'm his agent, I would be in there right now trying to renegotiate. Dak Prescott just made sure he got his deal renegotiated. Once the Daniel Jones deal came down, it's the same exact in total value of Dak Prescott. If you're Dak Prescott, why the hell is Daniel Jones making the same money as me? He's not in theory, but in total value, both their contracts say 4 years, $160 million. So Dak's like, no. I don't want anyone thinking that me and Daniel Jones are in the same tax bracket. Steven, Jerry, we need to renegotiate, restructure this deal where I get more money up front right now. I'm not waiting for that back end money. No. I need that bread to be pushed up. So where are we in this QB carousel? You know, we spoke at length. We was on this stream for 2 hours yesterday, going back and forth about Jalen Hurts and what his money could look like, Herbert, Burrow. Now we have the latest with Lamar, allegedly not wanting fully guaranteed money, but still wanting more guaranteed money than Deshaun Watson. Let me know in the comments where y'all at. Is this legit? Do we believe it? Do we think it's smoke? Where are we at with it? And, you know, in the spirit of it, there's been a lot of players, and we used the Dion tweet yesterday, but there's been a lot of current and former players are coming out in support of Lamar Jackson. Honey Badger. This man got hurt twice inside the pocket. I've never seen anyone tackle him with a heavy hit in space. His game is special and rare. I have never seen this guy take a hit when running and not get up immediately. He owns a mean stiff arm. When he hurt himself, it was inside the pocket. All of that is facts. But, you know, he's a running quarterback, so he puts himself in danger to get hurt. Even though when he has gotten himself hurt, it's been inside the pocket. Now, this was in response to the ridiculous statement that Arthur Blank said yesterday, and we went over that, and I'm happy that not just people like myself that are analysts are saying something, but I'm happy that former players are actually using their platform to step out there as well, because you can't let people get off takes like this that are just inaccurate, but fan bases eat it up, media eats it up, and even you see this here on the Elon app. Even the Four Letter Network on their Twitter account will eat it up and post it. So I'm glad we have Tyrann Mathieu, a.k.a. the Honey Badger, stepping up. Someone else from the Four Letter Network, former QB who should know all about being considered a running quarterback more so than an actual quarterback, RG3, who, if it wasn't for Shanahan and the Washington training staff and grounds crew, would probably still be playing or finishing up his career in the NFL. But anyway, RG3 took to his platform. Every QB needy team deciding not to pursue Lamar Jackson is weird, but every QB needing team deciding to not even reach out to talk to him before making that decision is flabbergasting. Yeah. And we had that list yesterday. It was Washington, Vegas, Atlanta, obviously. Even low-key, you want to throw the Jets in there, even though, you know, they're going for Aaron Rodgers, so in theory, it's a better move. But, you know, we'll see how that works out, right? And just all the teams, even Carolina, moving up in the draft instead of maybe trying to go out there and get Lamar and then maybe helping out their team with the 9th pick. But no, jumping up and saying, no, we want the younger, cheaper option at the top of the draft. We'd rather have C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson, whoever you think is going to be the top QB. We'd rather have that than a former league MVP. Houston, same deal. We'll stick here at the 2 pick. We'll just marinate on that instead of jumping in and maybe, you know, leveraging these picks to go get Lamar Jackson. So on and so forth. Allegedly, the Colts, even though Jim Irsay has been non-committal about outwardly saying that the Colts are not going to pursue Lamar Jackson, he even went as far to say that it's not even necessarily about the money when it comes to Lamar Jackson. So that's all these QB needy teams not pursuing or finding what they think are better options than pursuing a 25, 26-year-old former MVP. Yes, that indeed is flabbergasting. DJ Reader. People really don't understand how good 8 is, man. No way they could be watching the same football games I'm watching. It's impossible. I say the same thing. There are allegedly a lot of credible people that claim to watch film, people that claim to be all locked in on the all 22 and all this stuff and deep in the analytics, who will just make the most rudimentary, basic comments, negative comments about Lamar's ability, and they try to get it off. And they try to get it off as real analysis. And it's very unbecoming, extremely unbecoming, and it kind of calls out how much they don't know about the game, to be quite honest. And then you have the Coach Prime thing. We spoke on this yesterday. We showed this yesterday, but yeah, he was getting into his quasi-preacher bag, so we won't spend too much time on that. But people are now being outwardly open with their support of Lamar. Always here for that. Let's move on, as we should have. We get changed out here. Now we'll change it. So Richard Sherman, he said a thing. And he said a thing that, quite honestly, I have been saying for a few weeks now. But he has a big platform, and he's been able to take advantage of that and get himself out there. And Richard Sherman is calling out specifically Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen for Lamar Jackson's contract issues. And this is what I was inferring to earlier when it comes to, you had the Kirk Cousins contract, the first of its kind, fully guaranteed, even off a franchise tag, fully guaranteed money. The next two big quarterback deals after that were Mahomes and were Josh Allen, but they did not get fully guaranteed money. Now, how much they pushed for it, we don't know, but the bottom line is Kirk Cousins changed the scope of how contracts could be done in the NFL by getting the first multi-year fully guaranteed contract, which at the time made him the richest player in the NFL. And then Mahomes followed up with his 10 years, $450 million, which was heavily bloated with funny money. And then Josh Allen went out there and got $150 million guaranteed, but has a lot of funny money on the back end of that contract. Then Deshaun was able to pull up and put that Kirk Cousins thing back on the line and say, no. Take the Kirk framework, fully guaranteed, 5 years, $230. So this is what we're going to look at. We're going to pull this up here because there are some quotes I think you guys would want to read, because I won't play it because I'm sure there'll be some copyright stuff there. But as you see here, this is a lot of the same stuff we've been talking about. Let me get this pulled up for y'all. When Kirk Cousins got his guaranteed deal, I thought quarterbacks from then on were going to be like, if it ain't guaranteed, I ain't taking it. Then Mahomes took the BS deal, 10 years, and wanted it to like half a billion. I don't know what that is. When he didn't set it, then Josh Allen didn't set it. So in essence, he's saying, once Kirk Cousins got the fully guaranteed deal, like I've been bringing up here, seemingly stream after stream after stream, as the media keeps focusing exclusively only on the Deshaun Watson fully guaranteed contract as if there was none before it, which there was. It just the media didn't care about it as much because it was Kirk Cousins and not a guy that was coming off multiple ACL tears and 20-some cases of sexual misconduct like your man's Deshaun Watson. When it was Kirk Cousins getting, 3 years and 90-something million fully guaranteed, no one cared about it. No one blinked an eye. So when Kirk Cousins set the mark of getting that richest contract ever, fully guaranteed, first contract ever, Mahomes, with the power he had, because remember, when Mahomes got his contract, that was after the Super Bowl win. Is there any better time to stick him up than right then after a Super Bowl win? Third year in the league, fresh off an MVP, you win a Super Bowl MVP? Kirk Cousins goes get what fully guaranteed? Oh, I'm about to kill him. No, a whole bunch of funny money. And this isn't one of those stories of like, Mahomes needed the money. His dad played in the major leagues. His dad was a baseball player. His dad was a Met. Money was not an issue. So taking that 10-year deal, which has a lot of funny money in it, just doesn't resonate to me. It just doesn't make sense. Because Kirk Cousins broke the mold. When Kirk Cousins got his guaranteed deal, I thought quarterbacks from then on were going to be like, if it ain't guaranteed, I ain't taking it. That's the same thought process I've been spitting here. Same exact thing. Why would you ever go backwards? The bar has now been raised. And if there's ever a position in that sport to force that issue, it's the quarterback position. And if there's no better option than a early 20s off of an MVP and a Super Bowl MVP and Patrick Mahomes, there's no better option to get fully guaranteed money after Kirk Cousins than Patrick Mahomes. But he didn't do it. 10 years, $450 million, only 140 of it is guaranteed. Imagine that, $310 million of incentives? That's Forex style to me. That's commissions. That's pyramid scheme to me. Now, thankfully, he's Mahomes. So he's so nice, he might hit most of those ridiculous incentives. Maybe. So maybe he gets 300 of it when it's all said and done, if he keeps on this trajectory. But imagine if he was just okay for the rest of his career. 10 years, 140 million? That's 14 million a year. We could do the math. Do you understand the math of that? 10 years of being Patrick Mahomes is only going to get me 140 mil? Does that sound right to you? As we see role players in the NBA get the same type of money, there's 6 men in the NBA that get 100 plus million. I don't know, man. That's why, to me, I'm glad others are speaking up. People with bigger platforms, people with some cash, they are speaking up. But this is literally stuff I've been saying here, and I've had people in the comments, and I see the comments. I'll get to them shortly. I'm not the only one saying this. This is not that large of a thought process to have. Like, I always liken it to regular jobs because these are jobs for a good chunk of these players. They're getting paid to perform a job. Yes, it's a game at its core, but it's a job. Once money's involved, it's no longer a game. We all played these games for fun, for free back in the day as our own entertainment. Once the money comes in, it's no longer that. It's a job. You could get hired. You can get fired. You could get a pension. You can get sued. Like, it's all these types of things in it that don't happen when you're just running around having fun as a child. It's different. This is a job. Someone in Lamar Jackson's industry got fully guaranteed money, something that had never been done before. So in your line of work, someone who does the same job as you got a raise and got a contract stipulation that was groundbreaking, history breaking. That's now the bar. Like, imagine the first job that offered stock options. That was a game changer. I'm sure jobs before that were just paying you a salary and that's it. But once the first job said, no, we're going to give you stock in the company. Oh, that raised the bar. Now, to be competitive, other companies had to follow suit. The first company to offer benefits, the first company to offer 401k, those were all game changers. And the industry had to follow suit. So Kirk Cousins got fully guaranteed money, and the other QBs should have followed suit. Like, okay, he changed the game. He broke the ceiling. Fully guaranteed? We thought that would never happen. the NFL owners and front offices would laugh at the other leagues because they all caved in to fully guaranteed money. The Mets had an opening day pitcher today that fell down and went boom. All that money gone already after one start with Verlander getting hurt. The NFL has been in lockstep this entire time. Kirk Cousins broke that. Mahomes and Josh Allen should have followed suit. I don't know who their agents were. I don't know any of that stuff. All I know is if I'm Mahomes and I'm him, I got an MVP. I just threw for 50 touchdowns the first year I started. I won a Super Bowl and was the Super Bowl MVP. Kirk Cousins got how much guaranteed? Oh, 200 minimum. 200 minimum. Like when the 450 was announced, I wouldn't have been surprised if that was the guarantees. 10 years, 450 million fully guaranteed. Because 45 million a year, word. I'd have been like, word, okay, I get it. If he's this nice, I get it. In the long run, that's a bargain. 45 mil a year for 10 years of Patrick Mahomes? Because right now you could argue that's cheap. But the Chiefs don't even have to pay him that much. And that's why the NFL is problematic in their salary structure about being able to flood these contracts with funny money. And that's why Mahomes and Josh Allen dropped the ball for a QB like Lamar Jackson. Yeah, that's why Richard Sherman is putting it out here strong on his platform. We've been talking about this here for weeks. And one of the people I've been talking about this here for weeks is Tanya. And Tanya's been able to pull up here. And she's in the comments. They said Kirk Cousins was the man. Shannon Sharp and the boys celebrating them. That's what I'm saying. Like, there was no negativity when it came to the Kirk Cousins thing. It was like, oh my God, he got fully guaranteed money. Yay for Kirk Cousins. It was all celebratory. It was no shade. There was no negativity. It was no one saying, is Kirk Cousins even this good? Should Kirk Cousins be the richest player in the NFL? Is Kirk Cousins the quality of quarterback to be the first one ever to get fully guaranteed money? None of that. Absolutely none of that. But then, nasty man Deshaun Watson, 2 torn ACLs, 20-something sexual misconduct cases, sitting out a year because he wanted a new contract. He gets the bag. He gets fully guaranteed money. Hellfire and brimstone. Lamar Jackson, former league MVP. Cover of Madden, all pro. Face of the franchise. One of the highest selling jerseys throughout the league. He dare whispers. With no agent, he wants fully guaranteed money, or at least more guaranteed money than Deshaun Watson. Hellfire and brimstone. Just imagine Josh Allen a couple of years ago. No, a year ago, right? Because he signed after the third year. So Josh Allen, 2 years ago, got $150 million guaranteed. All right? So just understand that. Josh Allen, $150 million 2 seasons ago. And by all reports, of which even Lamar even tweeted about, the Ravens offered him 3 years, $133 guaranteed. That's this year. Josh Allen, $150 guaranteed 2 seasons ago. And allegedly, if we're to believe reports and even Lamar on the Elon app, $133 guaranteed. That math does not math. And yes, there were later reports, more so from the Ravens' point of view, that said they offered him more than that. Lamar has never corroborated that. The only one that Lamar has spoken on publicly is that 3 for $133. So, y'all tell me, which is it? But this right here says it all. They had a chance. Kirk Cousins broke the mold. And the QBs after him did not follow suit. The QBs, Patrick Mahomes, who had the most layup opportunity of all to get that kind of money, did not follow suit. Kirk Cousins got 90-something million guaranteed. You're Patrick Mahomes off of a Super Bowl and an MVP and a Super Bowl MVP, and you let them talk you into a 10-year, $450 million contract that has 140 of it guaranteed. How does that happen? How? And here's the problem. All the QBs after him got more. Josh Allen went and got more money than him right after him. Patrick Mahomes got 140 guaranteed. Josh Allen went in there and off one good year, heavily aided by Stephon Diggs, he got 150 million guaranteed. That's why the guarantee matters. Because when you sign, everyone after you is going to most likely earn more than you because you set the bar at that moment. And that's why Mahomes tricked it off by setting the bar so low. They fooled everyone with that $450 million number. 10 years, 450. Oh my God, almost $500 million. Oh my God. When in actuality, it's just $140. Just $140. And then Josh Allen's able to swoop in a year or so later and get 10 more million guaranteed. And he's Josh Allen. And then you got Daniel Jones, who is able to spin the narrative of, I'm getting $40 million a year. 4 years, 160. Even though in actuality, less than half of that money is guaranteed. So you see how they play with the numbers in this semantics. Go back to the comments. I'm glad Tanya's been able to check in today. We've been missing her Ravens analysis on this stream. So imagine what they offered Lamar when Josh Allen got his 120. But it's really 150 because Lamar is only offered 133 2 years. That's the problem. That's the problem. Josh Allen, and we'll confirm this, but I'm pretty sure it's 150. Let's make sure. Let's make sure. We will make sure. I'm pretty sure it's 150. Let's pull this up. Oh, these ads, these pop-up ads on these websites. Yep. All right, let's pull this up. Here we go. Just like I know, Josh Allen, total guaranteed, 150. 150 million. Now he got 100 at signing. Then you throw in a bunch of, roster bonuses and signing bonuses and all that. The total. So no matter what happens, and this is a 6-year deal. 6 years, 258 million, right? 6 years, 258. So out of that, only 150 of it is guaranteed. So that's 108 million of funny money. Of just incentive after incentive after incentive. So if Josh Allen, let's say that elbow that really messed him up later in the year, was career ending, he would only get 150 million. The Bills would only be on the hook for 150 million. So when they signed that contract, they only needed to have 150 million in escrow. And that's why teams like the Raiders can't really get involved in the Lamar Jackson, thing because they just don't have it. If Lamar asks for 250 guaranteed, they don't have this in escrow. Because the Raiders seem like a team that you would think with their rebel status back in the day, less more so now, you would think they would be in the mix. But they're not in the mix because they just don't have it from a revenue standpoint. They're not flush. They're not liquid. So, But Josh Allen gets $150 million, and 2 years later, the Ravens are offering Lamar $133 guaranteed. Doesn't make sense, man. Does not make sense. And again, we go to Mahomes. Oh, this website is slow. All right, let me come off the screen and do it that way. There we go. Finally. Wow. All right. As y'all see here, you know, I do the research. I don't lie here. 10 years, 450. 10 years for $150 million. Total guaranteed 141. I don't lie here. I do the research. I know the numbers, and that's why I can spit these numbers like so. All this money is just incentives. Only 140 of it is guaranteed. Problematic as hell, if you ask me. Problematic as hell. And if you just look at the numbers, restructure. So there's restructuring even within this deal. He doesn't even have a lot of this money guaranteed, and there's built-in restructuring of the contract. And as you see, it's not even the base salary. Base salary is only $2.5 million. Then it hits $10 million at what year? 2027. 2027, it hits there, right? They put it all in the roster bonus. This is where the money's at. So again, when these teams tell you it's going to be such a financial hit, it's going to be such a problem to structure, look how easily they were able to do it with Mahomes. Roster bonuses, even in the last year of the deal, 2031. See, now here's how they structured it. In his prime, your base pay is basura, but your roster bonus is hitting. As he gets older, as he hits 31, 32, it changes. The base pay goes up, and now the roster bonus, it starts to dwindle as the base salary goes up. Because at this point, if he's lasted this long, if he's 30 plus and still on this roster, now they're just going to pay him he's going to earn it. He would have earned it. Structuring it like this is like, well, we're just riding off of the wave. We're going to pay you for the roster bonus. You're easily going to make the team. Now, they're paying you to make the team. They're paying you to still be this good at this age. Where at 36, we'll give you $38 million. Can you imagine 36-year-old Patrick Mahomes, if he's anywhere close to what he is now, only getting $38 million a year? Crazy. Absolutely crazy. And this is why your man Sherm thinks they dropped the ball. That's why he's saying this, and that's why we've been saying this for a minute. Myself, Tanya here, 150. Yeah. I know you know. You are our Ravens correspondent, so I know you know what type of time that contract was. All good, no worries. So that's where we're at with it. Where do y'all stand? Where do y'all fall on this? Because a lot of things could be said about these contracts. And while everyone keeps bringing up tired narratives about how good Lamar is or isn't, the bottom line is that there's a layer here that's been ignored throughout that process, right? As the injury bug has been brought up a lot with Lamar, I've been screaming from the heavens about how bad the strength and the training staff have been. And when it comes to rehabbing injuries and fixing players and being able to get in the mix of having players get rehabbed correctly and be given opportunities to come back from devastating injuries in a timely fashion, that team, the Ravens team, has done a bad job at that. So I'll just show this real quick. Don't want to waste y'all time because a lot of people think I just be making stuff up. Strength coaches, F-. That is dead last in the NFL. Training room, C. Even the training staff, B+. That's towards the bottom of the league. Okay? So this isn't stuff that's just hearsay. And we can even go here to the NFL player team report cards. If we want to go to the Ravens, red is bad, okay? If you're just seeing this list, red is bad. That's the only way I can simplify it, right? It's just like school back in the day. You get that F. I didn't get too many, thankfully, but that F was a big old red F. So here's an F for the Ravens, okay? C+, B-, C+, F-. Okay. Coincidentally, the team with the most red is the Cardinals. F, F-, F-, A-, F-, B+, F, B+. And then the Commanders, which is not surprising at all. Not surprising at all. And that's why I don't know who's more excited to see a potential sale between Daniel Snyder and anybody, whether it's the Magic Johnson group or Bezos, Hove, whoever. It's the Commanders. F, D+, C+, A+, F-, D, F-, F-. Dead last in the league. Dead last. So, and they had to fire, because of this F-, they had to fire the head of the strength and conditioning. The strength coach was fired. Let's go back to the comments. Tanya. It came out that Lamar went to his own rehab coach, didn't even trust Saunders. Yes, that was the guy's name. Saunders, thank you for refreshing my memory there. That's why the players wanted him out. The Ravens have too much of a buddy system. I agree. And there's been a lot of former players that have been out here riding against that dude Saunders, Matthew Judon being one specifically, and there's been plenty of others. Former players, the guys that had, misdiagnosed injuries that worsened with bad rehab. Like there's a lot there. And we had the earlier thing on Monday where we had like a 3-hour live stream where we broke down the 5 homegrown, let me make sure I get it in camera, 5 homegrown Ravens that had requested trades from Orlando Brown to Hollywood Brown to Hayden Hurst. Who was the other one? Chuck Carr? I believe it was Chuck. And then now Lamar. All homegrown Ravens. And this is within the last few years. This is not historically. This is within this current era of Ravens. 5 players have all requested trades from that organization. Something's going on in Baltimore. Something ain't right in B-more. I don't know what it is. I won't begin to speculate. I could make some stuff up, but that to me would be reckless. But clearly something ain't right. And how down bad do you have to be for the Ravens to offer Baker Mayfield a contract in free agency? That to me, there's fewer things more down bad than offering Baker Mayfield a contract in free agency. You have Lamar Jackson. What? He was supposed to come in and push Lamar? Would that have been their stopgap if they would have found a suitor? They were going to replace Lamar with Baker? Huntley and Baker? Are we for real? Mayfield declined the offer because he believed Tampa is the best opportunity for him to start. Yeah, because he probably feels no matter what, Lamar's probably going to end up back there. But it's just weird, man. Weird. Chuck Clark. There you go. Thank you, Tanya. Chuck Clark. So 5 Ravens. Chuck Clark, Hayden Hurst, Orlando Brown, Hollywood Brown, Lamar Jackson all have requested trades from the Ravens. How many other teams have that many guys wanting out in one particular era? Not even Washington. Like, you could name, not even the Jets. Like, who else? Who else has that many players wanting out that are homegrown? Not free agents where they thought they were going to get opportunity and it didn't work out. No, these are homegrown, drafted, brought into the system. And all those players at one point in time flourished. But they all wanted out. And they all eventually got out. Interesting. Let's see. What else can we navigate through? So that's players backing Lamar. Tanya, LOL, can you believe that down bad Baker? Yeah. That's rough. That really is rough, Tanya. Like, I don't know how else you can rationalize that. There's no way. I would be so heartbroken if I was a fan to know that my team had Lamar Jackson and then the next year really tried to sell me that, no, we got Baker now. And we also still expect to win. What? Huh? Yeah. Weird. Weirdo energy coming from B-More. I don't know what's up. Weirdo energy for sure. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Boogie Down. You late, bruh. Yeah, dog. We been rolling since 4 o'clock, man. 4 o'clock Eastern. You know I'm pulling up, and you missed getting into Lamar and that money. Yeah, man. Check back the stream. Check the replay. We went in, but I'll give you the quickie version. Just to recap before anyone else pulling up, I appreciate y'all hitting the like button. If you haven't subscribed and you're enjoying this content, that is unbiased sports talk, reality sports talk, all that type of stuff. You know, if you appreciate the content, then hit that sub, hit that like if you haven't already. So for Boogie Down, since you just pulled up, Lamar Jackson isn't demanding a fully guaranteed contract, according to Jeremy Fowler. He, quote, just wants the guaranteed portion of it to be larger than Watson's. So that's kind of where we've been at. My take on it is essentially what's happening is, like we've been talking about on this stream on Timeline T. I am your host, The Sam D. Lamar just wants more money than Deshaun Watson. Whatever semantics you need to figure it out, whether it's funny money on the back end, whatever, whether it's 10 years, $500 million, as long as that's 250 guaranteed, I'm good with that. So even if you want to give me a Mahomes type contract, cool, but make sure that fully guaranteed money is more than Deshaun Watson. So maybe he doesn't necessarily want a fully guaranteed contract like Deshaun. He just wants more than Deshaun Watson. So we've been chopping it up about that. My opinion on it, my take on it is that this is what it always was. For all the people saying he doesn't want fully guaranteed money. Yeah, okay, cool, but he still wants more money than Deshaun, and that's a lot of money. That's fully guaranteed money. No matter how you want to spice it, no matter how you want to slice it, no matter how you want to, subjugate it and itemize it, it's still, he got 230, I want X amount more. Make it work. Now, maybe he doesn't want 300 guaranteed. Maybe he doesn't want 275, but maybe it's 250. Maybe he's willing to have a whole bunch of funny money on the back end, like Mahomes, like Josh Allen, like all the rest of them. But no matter what happens, the bar for guaranteed money has been set by Deshaun Watson at 230. Now, whether it's fully guaranteed or the guaranteed part of a funny money contract, I want more guaranteed money than him because I think I'm better than him. And even if you don't think I'm better than him, it's my time to be up and the market says I should get more than him. That is my take on it. Then we moved on to Richard Sherman. Richard Sherman, again, another thing I've been talking about here on this stream for a minute now. Richard Sherman blames Mahomes and Allen deals for Lamar Jackson's contract. And Kirk Cousins came out here and got his guaranteed deal. I thought quarterbacks from then on were going to be like, if it ain't guaranteed, I ain't taking it. And that did not happen. Patrick Mahomes took that funny money contract. And do I still have that tab open? Yes, I do. Your man's Mahomes out here with 10 years, $450 million. Only 141 of it is guaranteed. And I believe Josh Allen was 258 or 6 million, and only 150 of it is guaranteed. So those two should have followed the mold or the market that was set or the standard that was newly established by Kirk Cousins, but they didn't. They went back to the old school style of contracts with a whole bunch of bloated, funny money. And now we have Deshaun Watson, who was able to piggyback off of Kirk Cousins, and now Lamar trying to piggyback off of Deshaun. And that's why we have all this strife, because if Mahomes and Josh Allen would have followed suit, Lamar would just be the next one up to get fully guaranteed money. But because there was that dip back to the old school, dip back to the old way of doing contracts, instead of using the Kirk Cousins thing as a springboard, now we have it where the old system is still running and running well, especially from an owner's point of view. If I can sell you on 10 years for 150 million and I'm really only on the hook for 141 of it, if I'm the Hunt family, if I'm the Hunt family, I'm winning. I can get someone as talented as Patrick Mahomes on the hook for only 141 million, but I'm selling him that is really 450. I'm winning. But then Deshaun was able to leverage his way despite multiple ACL tears, despite sitting out a year from a contract dispute, despite 20 plus cases of, inappropriate behavior and sexual misconduct. Despite all of that, he found the one owner that was willing to jump out there and pay him along the same lines as Kirk Cousins, but way more, $230 million. So Lamar's trying to piggyback off of that to keep that train rolling. And you know who's paying close attention to all of that? Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, because they're all up next. And if Lamar could break the bank, whether it's in Baltimore or somewhere else, they're all going to follow suit. But if he takes a L, and I find it hard to believe he'll take a L, but if through some whatever black magic he takes a L, they're all probably going to sign funny money deals like this Mahomes one or the Josh Allen one. So that's kind of where we're at. Now, there's Jalen Carter news, and it's not necessarily a good thing when it comes to Jalen Carter. It's been this guy was a month and a half ago, was thought to be the number 1 overall pick. Now it's gotten to the point where there's a team in the top 10 of the NFL draft, via reporting through The Athletic, is saying that they are taking him off their big board. Very interesting. Let's go ahead and jump into it. The Raiders. The Raiders are saying they will not take him 7th overall. Jalen Carter. Now, there's a lot of stuff there off the field. His pro day was really suspect. Did not look good, did not look energetic, did not even perform all the drills. So Jalen Carter, who was thought to be number 1 with an easy bullet, especially with the Bears there before the DJ Moore deal with the Panthers, it's now looking like he may be tumbling down. Now, the Bears have the 9th pick. I wonder, would the Bears spin the block on Jalen Carter at 9, now that it's looking like the Raiders, a team that was thought of to have him highly favored. But now after the combine, after all the updated stuff off the field, and then the bad pro day, he's off the board. Now, what does that mean? That means we get to look up another mock draft. And let's see where we're at today with these mock drafts. These mock drafts change every day. I wonder if this mock draft is updated. Let's see. Well, I've been leaning on Tankathon a lot because I don't want to deal with the four letter network stuff yet because McShay and Kuiper are biased. Well, it really doesn't matter for the Raiders, right? Because they have the Lions taking Jalen Carter at 6 on this mock. But let's assume the Lions don't do it. then that means the Raiders aren't going to do it. Do the Falcons do it? I don't think the Falcons do it. The Bears there, I think they need more offensive line help than defensive line help, but with the talent that Jalen Carter possesses. Now, maybe he's just in a funk. I mean, he had 2 people die on him. There could be a lot of stuff there. You're really rolling the dice on can he get back to that same mindset that made him the monster that he was on that Bulldog defensive line. Do we think Jalen Carter will fall out of the top 10? I think that to me is the new question. If he gets past the Lions at 6, and I think for the Bears, they have a bigger need at tackle than D-line. Man, and I was playing around with some Eagles fans a few weeks ago. If they somehow end up with Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, and they still got Fletcher Cox, that's just going to be, I mean, if Jalen Carter could get his head right, and, being around Fletcher Cox and Jordan Davis might help with that, especially Jordan Davis. That could be a monstrous D-line. It's hard to improve that D-line that much more than that. Like, it's hard to improve an already great D-line than throwing in Jalen Carter into that, like, eight-man rotation that they got there in Philly. So we'll see what happens with that. But that was a story that I think is interesting, that the Raiders are jumping out the window early and saying, nope, don't want him, don't need him. Jimmy G, good Lord. All right, let's see what else we got. This is a stream where we go around the timeline. We pull out the NFL storylines that matter, that make sense to go over. There is a slight update to the Jets-Packers stuff, but I mean, it's kind of saying the obvious. The Jets-Packers Aaron Rodgers trade will, quote, certainly, end quote, happen before the 2023 draft and could be done as early as this week. Does anyone actually believe that? Because he's been outside that darkness retreat for how long? It's been almost a month since he's gone back into the light. And we still don't have a deal done. So who knows? Who knows? What else we got? Odell Beckham. As early as this week, free agent receiver Odell Beckham has still been seeking a contract that would pay him about $15 million per. And that is actually down from what was previously wanted, which was reportedly $20 million a year. So as the Jets try to figure out what the hell to do to give up to get Aaron Rodgers, now they got to figure out, are we going to give Odell $15 million a year off back-to-back leg injuries? I don't know if I would do that if I'm the Jets. I don't know if I would do that. What else we got? Let me see. Let me just proofread some of this stuff so we don't repeat anything. I thought there was the Hopkins story. Where's the DeAndre Hopkins story? DeAndre Hopkins, give me a second here. Wait a minute. Oh, okay. Here's an update to the Jalen Carter story. Multiple teams have taken Jalen Carter off their draft board for the 2023 draft. That's interesting. Multiple teams. Who's going to get a steal? Or who's going to jump out the window and take a risk? Bears might do it. Where is the DeAndre Hopkins thing? There it is. The Ravens have looked into trading for DeAndre Hopkins and Courtland Sutton. They've also made a push to sign free agent wide receiver Odell Beckham. Truth be told, I think this is BS, to be honest with you. And again, this is the same dude who said that Lamar doesn't want fully guaranteed contract, but he wants more guaranteed money than Deshaun Watson. So again, who's giving him this information? Is his information from the Ravens' perspective? Because how are you talking to Lamar's people and getting that information, and now you're getting information from the Ravens? saying that they've looked into trading for DeAndre Hopkins and Cortland Sutton. Does this make sense with what we have been watching over these last few weeks? Why would you sign Nelson Agholor if you're actively trying to trade? Well, again, see, words matter. You know what? I'll click on this story just because, and I know the pop-up is going to pop up in a second. I don't like the pop-ups. Oh, no pop-up? Good. Okay. There's the pop-up. Took longer than advertised. All right. We don't like pop-ups. Sorry. All right. So there's a story. Let's see if we can get it through the 4-letter network. Nope, not that story. Not that story. Ugh, hate this. You aggregate the story, but then you hide it behind all these pop-ups just to read a story. All right, so can't find it on the guy's Twitter feed, but we'll stick with the alleged original reporting that they allegedly were looking into trading for DeAndre Hopkins and Cortland Sutton. So I think the reason why I don't believe this is because you don't go and get Nelson Agholor if you're trying to get DeAndre Hopkins and or Cortland Sutton, because both of those are better than Nelson Agholor. And then the words looked into trading, that doesn't doesn't mean that they were seriously or even close to actually acquiring these guys. That just means they made a call, or maybe they had a conversation at the owners' meetings or at the combine or whatever. Like, so that's where sometimes the reporting can make you believe something that isn't actually what you think it is or what you're being led to believe it is, because that's why the words matter here. The Ravens looked into, I'm telling you, that literally could be a text between the Ravens and the Cardinals front office, or the Ravens and the Broncos front office, or that could have been sharing an elevator in Indianapolis at the combine, or being at the same table at the owners' meetings. That doesn't mean there was intense conversations. It was close to happening. We thought it was done. It's none of that. It's just, they looked into it. I would hope they would at least look into it. That's the bare minimum. That's their job. If someone is available, and both these receivers publicly have been known to be available, then that's the bare minimum, is to do your job and look into what the trade is, what the trade will look like from a compensation standpoint. But do I believe that this is a real thing more so than just checking in? No. Let's go back to the comments. Tanya's here. I will believe it when I see it. Ravens always try when it comes to a number one receiver. We are not going for that. Jeremy Fowler is foul. Yeah, I mean, I think he just sometimes, and I'll keep it a buck with you, Tanya. Like, as you know, I've been in this industry for over a decade, almost 15 years. They need people to click. They need people to click. They need people to be interested in their stories. They need people like me to bring this stuff to y'all and then, have an opinion on it. But ultimately, because I'm in the industry and because I know what really goes down, I know this story means nothing. This story is absolutely nothing. This story is from a Ravens perspective. So Jeremy Fowler's source is someone in the Ravens front office, management side, trainer, staff, coaching staff, whatever. He's got someone on the inside, or maybe a few people on the inside, that are telling them, yeah, we looked into trading for DeAndre Hopkins, because again, the narrative around the Ravens is that they have refused to put, or have failed to put competent talent at the wide receiver position around Lamar Jackson. That's the number one easiest talking point that is irrefutable. And they know that. Like, they're not stupid. They know that. Their GM was just criticizing, Perryman and Bateman a few weeks ago. So he knows they have failed at the wide receiver position. So it would be good PR or good spin to let it be known publicly that, hey man, we're trying to get, if we could just get Lamar to sign this contract. Look, we looked into trading for DeAndre Hopkins. Look, we looked into trading for Cortland Sutton, knowing damn well you just made a phone call or you just sent the text. And you asked what it would look like to get DeAndre Hopkins. The Cardinals told you what it would look like, and you probably left them on red once you realized you ain't trying to give up all that for no DeAndre Hopkins. And the same thing for Cortland Sutton. And they've also made a push to sign free agent wide receiver Odell Beckham. You telling me they're going to give Odell the $15, $20 million he wants, but they won't give Lamar Jackson the money that he wants? And Odell, no offense to Odell, he would just be the latest wide receiver that was, in theory, past his prime that they've brought in to kind of be their number one receiver. They had Des Bryant. They had Sammy Watkins. They had Deshaun Jackson. All those receivers were past their prime by the time they got to the Ravens. Now we're trying to add Odell to that mix? Come on, man. Like, DeAndre Hopkins still got something left. Cortland Sutton is a big target. If you could figure that out, if this story were actually to be true and they got both of them, that's incentive for Lamar to then take a lesser deal. And that's the only play the Ravens have. If you don't want Lamar to really force the issue and make this messy, you think it's messy now. I don't think he's showing up to training camp. Why would he? He's not showing up to training camp. Certainly not like OTAs and voluntary workouts. Why would he? So this is going to continue to get messy. When players have to report, when OTAs start happening, when voluntary camps start, and don't forget, they have a new OC. There's a new offensive coordinator in Baltimore. They have a whole new system to implement, and their starting franchise QB won't be there. That's going to be messy. So this can only get messy from here on out. So the only way to make this less messy is to go get the boy some help. Go get him not one, but two receivers worth a damn. And you have DeAndre Hopkins here. You have Cortland Sutton here. Odell, to me, is a distant third on this list, to be completely honest with you at this point. Like, go get him Nook. Go get him DeAndre Hopkins. Stop playing around. You have a franchise QB. Those don't grow on trees. You lucked out. The 31st pick in the first round, you got an MVP. How often does that happen? Why are you so quick to bail on him? I don't know. It's just weird, man. Weirdo energy for that. That's the only thing I could keep summing up. Weirdo energy from Baltimore. If it's a football decision, why? Explain to us. Much like people want Lamar to explain why he wants, or to tell us what type of money he wants, have the Ravens say why they don't want to pay him the money that he wants. If it truly is a football choice as to why you don't want to give him the money, then what's that reason? Do you think he's damaged goods? Do you think he's past his prime? Do you think he'll never be that MVP level again? Or even the year after that when he was 11-4? What is it? Because this doesn't make sense for a QB this young and seemingly this good in their prime to be available, and you don't want to sign him. This is unprecedented. I want y'all to understand that. This is not something that's common. This isn't common. Where we have to have all this semantics of what does he want? What should he do? What does he deserve? What doesn't he deserve? Is he this good? Is he not good? Like all this semantics back and forth when the bottom line is it's his turn. And he wants market value. And that market's been set. And that's how pay scales work no matter what industry. That's how pay scales work. Why are we to assume that because it's sports, it's different. Back to the comments. Tanya, I would take Cortland Sutton, get Lamar some help. Facts. Facts. Why not? Now, the only problem with Sutton is that, if I remember correctly, the Broncos were asking for very big compensation. I don't think it was a first round pick, but it was like multiple seconds or something to that effect. So you got to really want Cortland Sutton to go trade for Cortland Sutton. And the same thing with DeAndre Hopkins. The Cardinals thought they could get a first rounder. Now they've come off that, but they still want similar type compensation, multiple seconds, a second and a third, something to that effect. They're too cheap to get D-Hop. I tend to agree with you. I don't think they'll get D-Hop. They should. If everything was equal, they should, but they won't. They won't. Because again, do they have the capital? Let's see. Where are they? 22nd in the draft. Well, hey, at least they have them drafting a wide receiver. Jordan Addison out of USC. That's not the wide receiver you want out of USC. The good one's coming out next year. So they got one first. Do they have a second? They don't even have Ravens do not have a second round pick. Yeah, I don't see how the Ravens are trading for anybody with this type of draft collateral. Do they even have a third? Oh, they traded that to the Bears for Roquan. Okay. So that was part of the Roquan deal. Okay. And let's see. Do they have a third? They have a third round pick. So they have a first, a low first, and a low third. Any conditionals? No conditionals. Yeah, I don't know what type of collateral they think. Unless they're going to give a third this year and maybe a second next year, unless the Bears got that. Interesting. So they have a first round pick, no second round pick because that went to Chicago in the Roquan Smith deal. But they do have a third. So they have a first and a third, but I would not do that just to get DeAndre Hopkins, to be quite honest with you. And I damn sure would not do that to get Cortland Sutton. Now, if I could get D-Hop for a third this year and a second next year, okay. I could see that. A third this year, a second next year, or maybe a second and a third, 2/3 and a second, something to that effect. I don't mind that. I don't know if Arizona will take that, but I think that's something that you could work on. Back to the comments, Tanya. Well, that's how the Ravens love their picks, and they only have 5 picks. That's the way it's looking. I didn't know they had so few picks, but I forgot the Roquan deal. Yeah, it's not looking good. I don't see that happening. So that's something we're gonna have to kind of ex-nay on that. But that's where we're at with it. That's where we are at with it. Let me see. Let's do a quick check of the tweets. Make sure nothing new has broken. That Jalen Carter news, I'm surprised that's not making more rounds, because that's a pretty big fall from grace. He was going to be the number 1 pick, and now he's off the board. That's crazy. Let's see. Let's see if I can do this on the fly. I have the Athletic story up, but we need to put it into something so the subscription thing won't pop up. Give me a second. Let's see, where is it? There it is. Pull that up. Pull that. Okay, we should be good. Now the sizing might be weird on this. Give me a second to frame this up correct. And then we can take a look at if there's anything specific in regards to Jalen Carter as to why He's tumbling down these draft boards. Okay, I think we're okay there. Let me zoom in. All right, let's see if this works. Okay, boom. Mark Davis learning patience and other Raider takeaways from NFL meetings. So this will let us know about the whole thing of tumbling down the draft board. Practice patience, Ziegler. Wow, they buried this story? Best player approach doesn't apply to Jalen Carter. McDaniels said the Raiders would do their homework on Georgia defensive tackle Jalen Carter as one of the top 2-3 players in the draft will almost absurdly slide after he pleaded no contest to 2 misdemeanor charges of racing and reckless driving. Never forget those two that involved the death of 2 people. But Carter is not an option for the Raiders at 7, having already been crossed off by the team, according to a league source. Carter had been charged with 2 misdemeanors on March 1st. The investigation concluded that Carter had been racing the car driven by Georgia recruiting analyst Chandler LaCroix. That was one of the people who passed, resulting in her death and the death of passenger Devin Willock, a Georgia offensive lineman. Carter was sentenced to 1 year probation, a $1,000 fine, and 80 hours of community service following his plea. Yikes. While the cases are not the same, the comparison is too close to home for the Raiders and their fans. Oh, this is a really good point. I forgot this. This makes a lot more sense now. While the cases are not the same, the comparison is too close to home for the Raiders and their fans in the Las Vegas community following the 2021 arrest of former receiver Henry Ruggs. Yeah, that makes more sense now. That makes more sense now. I could see that being a thing. Let's see if there's anything else here for The Athletic before we wrap this up. Henry Ruggs, man. Yikes. Oh, yeah. How many of y'all care about Hard Knocks? Because apparently the Bears won no parts of Hard Knocks. Look at all this Lamar stories. Like they have a whole tab of just Lamar stories. I mean, he's polarizing, man. He's polarizing. Let's have some fun since we have Tanya here and she's been tapping in. Let's get some which teams would be a fit for Lamar. This story is as of Monday. So let's see. Which teams could trade for him? Colts could trade for him. We understand that. The Falcons are here. I don't know why the Falcons are here. Seattle Seahawks. That's a new one to me. The Seahawks have 2 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks this year, so they have the pieces to make a deal. Interesting. I just don't see Pete Carroll doing that. Raiders have already said they're not going to do it. Detroit Lions, they've already said they're not going to do it. Carolina Panthers, they've already said they're not going to do it. Okay, so this is a pretty trash story, to be quite honest with you, because only one of these teams can actually do it. Like, I think the Colts are the only team with Jim Irsay that would realistically actually attempt to go get Lamar. I think these other teams are just being used here for other reasons. Who has the leverage? It's pretty clear the Ravens have most of the leverage in this situation. Oh, I completely disagree with this. I completely disagree. A public market for Jackson hasn't materialized since Boston placed a non-exclusive franchise tag on him. In fact, teams were tripping over themselves, collusion, to say that they weren't going to get involved. The quarterback's public statement Monday takes away some of the team's advantage, and Jackson clearly knows that. Still, it'll take a big offer. The non-exclusive tag means that if another team makes an offer, yeah, we know how that works. Okay. So I completely disagree. I do not think that the Ravens have the leverage here because the Ravens need a quarterback to start week 1. and the quarterback they would want to start week one doesn't have to be there in week one. That to me means that quarterback has the leverage, not the team. If Lamar decides to sit at home, what leverage do the Ravens have? They can't force him to play. They can't. He can play when he's good and goddamn well ready. And he has until, what is it, week 10? I think with the franchise tag, you have until week 10 to sign the tag. So he can sit out the bulk of the first half of the year while they continue to get this deal done. Because I think they have, in terms of a long-term deal when you're on the tag, I think you have until July to negotiate a long-term deal. Once that window passes, then you have until the player has until week 10 to sign the franchise tag to still get paid. So if Lamar just wants to take the 32.4, he has until week 10 to pull up and sign for the franchise tag. So I don't know. I don't think the Ravens do not have the leverage here. Do the Ravens have the leverage in terms of they don't have to give Lamar his money? Sure. But then you're assuming that Lamar needs the money more than the Ravens need a quarterback. And I think that is way overselling Lamar needing money. Like Lamar needing that 32.4 versus the Ravens needing a quarterback to start week one. I think the emphasis, the pressure is more on the Ravens than Lamar Jackson needing that 32.4 million. So that to me means the Ravens have the leverage, not that Lamar Jackson has the leverage, not the Ravens. So I think we'll wrap there unless you want to do some Q&A. Yeah, I got a few more minutes if y'all want to do some Q&A here. Thank you, Tanya, for being here. Glad you were able to catch the stream today. Oh man, you missed that 3-hour one. That 3-hour one, we were going. We were out here. We were out here. Let's see. No one cares about Hard Knocks. Okay. Got you. Thank you for the new subscribers. Whoever pulled up and subscribed, I appreciate you. If you're enjoying this content, please feel free to subscribe. I like the fact that the channel's growing. I like that consistent growth. If you missed anything from yesterday's stream, there's a clip up of me breaking down the rush to sign Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, and Joe Burrow ahead of Lamar Jackson. Much like we spoke about today, when it comes to guaranteed money, these teams want these players on these Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen contracts, not the Kirk Cousins, Deshaun Watson contracts. So we spoke about that at length yesterday. So if you're into that, tap into that. If you're new here, this is the type of content we're doing where we go through these the timeline and we try to navigate what's real, what's not. I try to give you my analysis from being someone in sports media that can kind of give you a different perspective. Not just, I'm not a fan. I'm not sitting here just, telling you what my allegiance is and my whole entire viewpoints are only from that perspective. I don't do that stuff. We talk real talk around these parts. And I like having fans that are engaged, fans of other teams that are engaged. I've had Raven fans pull up, like Tanya. I've had Buck fans pull up, Packer fans pull up, Cowboy fans, Jets fans. Haven't had any Bears fans, and that was a team of my youth back in the day. But all as we push this stream going forward, hopefully we'll get fans of every team to pull up in here and get their voice heard, because that's what I'm all about. So let's see. I'm just going through the timeline real quick here to see if there's anything specific we're missing. I don't think so. Hit the comments one last time. Tanya, yes, I'm glad I caught it. I know you guys were on a long time. Great content. Thank you so much, Tanya. I appreciate that. I appreciate you showing up and contributing to the comment section. That helps keep me, I always aim to only do an hour. I always come on, even when I had literally no one watching. I would come on here and still do an hour. And then, we're building this thing little by little, and we're getting people to always pull up. They know when I'm on. They come in here. They get engaged. They enjoy the content. And now we're building this thing, and now we're rolling where we could go 2 hours, 2.5, 3 hours. I'm like, wow, I only make sure I'm good for an hour, whether someone shows up or not. I can do an hour, but when y'all are engaged in the comment section and, giving me news of what's going on, and I could go pull it up here and find it, and then we could discuss it. That's when, we could start to do 2-3 hours here. So always appreciative of anyone who's viewed this, always appreciative of anyone who's liked the stream or subscribed to the channel. I'm here to provide entertainment, information, and value. So if you want that type of stuff in regards to sports, unbiased, unfiltered, don't got to worry about me, trying to sell you something in regards to I'm giving you a narrative that's I'm being told to give you. No, this is all me. This is all my brand, my information, my analysis, and my opinion. So we'll probably wrap up there. Thank you so much for those who have pulled up. If you missed any of today, you can always jump back and catch the replay on the live tab of the YouTube channel. I'll probably pull a clip from this to throw up either tonight or first thing in the morning, so we can do something special there. And I'll be back here to finish off the week strong. Hopefully we'll get some more news. Probably be Lamar Jackson related. Maybe we'll get some Aaron Rodgers stuff, since they claim the deal could be done by the end of this week. But always be wary of Friday. Friday is Friday news dump. Okay? Be aware of the dreaded Friday news dump where, there's going to be a lot more stuff. Baseball just started today. The NBA is getting closer to the playoffs. It's going to be college basketball this weekend, the Final Four. Watch to see if there's some news that kind of gets snuck in there that if it would have dropped today, it would have been a huge deal. But they'll drop it on a Friday because they know there's going to be more stuff coming down, more information, more content, and you're going to be blinded by it. It's a session on Sunday. And then by Monday, what happened on Friday? No big deal. So that's a real thing in this industry. Please believe. So we'll wrap there. Appreciate those who have been able to tap in. I appreciate all the likes. If you have subscribed, thank you so much. I appreciate that. If you've liked, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I'll be back here tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern time. So no matter what time zone you're in or whatever, 4 p.m. Eastern time. And if you can't catch it live, you can catch the replay on the live tab of this channel. So for Timeline T, I am the Sam D. Say Deuce May Jr. Peace.